And I don't say these things to project any type of fear or any negativity or anything along those lines, but I feel like a lot of people don't realize how serious it is to really go through targeting as a whole, because you got to think about how deep it is when your own family wants to get you out of here. People in your own community, all around you in these neighborhoods, conspiring to get you out of here. You have these neighborhood watch groups. You have, the local authorities and the police in your cities and your towns. People within governmental positions. People within the intelligence community. These agencies and things like that. And so you got so many people that are working together to create a false narrative and putting in so much effort, time, and resources. And at the same time, you have to keep living your life as if nothing's going on. You know what I mean? You have to still function like every other person and take care of your responsibilities. Things that so-called adults do, right? Which is all bullshit in the first place. This system and these responsibilities, even the money is all fabricated anyways. It's all fiat. So it's like all this shit's really a show. That's why I call it the world stage. But where I'm going with this is that when you're a TI, it's really that serious. And I don't say that, like I said, to project any fear or, to make anybody feel any anxiety or to make anybody, paranoid. But at the same time, it's like after you've been through this, you kind of look at everybody as an enemy. You look at everybody as a op. No matter how clean cut they approach you, no matter how much they try to have this charm, everybody is a potential suspect. Everybody can potentially flip on you. So it's like I just sit here and think about the TIs that I had first started watching when I woke up to my targeting, and how some of them aren't here anymore, and they passed away. Like EV, Electrifying Vibrations, RP, John, and it just really made me think about this, about how serious this can be. And like I said, your own people are trying to line you up. It's a weird feeling when I gotta be around family members knowing that they're part of the reason my life got to the point it's at today, and they're part of the reason why a lot was sabotaged. And I'm not saying it's only family, but that's the way the enemy works, y'all. Whoever's immediately around you, that's how the enemy likes to weasel himself in. It gets that deep. It gets that deep. In this world, we're in a world where your own mom, your own dad, your own blood brothers and sisters will sell you out. You know what I mean? And it doesn't take much. That's the type of world we live in. It doesn't take much, really. To be honest with you, I personally think people ain't shit. And that's just me being humble right there. That's me saying it in the nicest way I possibly can. But being a TI has really showed me how fake all of you frauds really are. And it's really showed me how much y'all hide in plain sight. And y'all like to try to copy the personalities of real authentic people. And then y'all try to wear it like a suit. You know what I mean? Y'all try to wear other people's qualities and traits. And then y'all go out to the world and put on a front. Because that's all you people are used to doing. Y'all are used to taking from others and then, trying to capitalize off of other people. So if anybody's a bum, because I know y'all like to throw that word around, y'all like to get TI's workplace mobbed and blackballed and try to affect their finances, and then y'all like to call them bums and call them homeless people and all these terms y'all use. But if anybody's a bum, I think it's a thief who can't go get it themselves. And you got to utilize the system And that's how a lot of you cowards work. You know, a lot of you cowards, y'all are in positions of authority that y'all are trusted with. And y'all do these crimes on the books. You know what I mean? Y'all do these crimes with a paper and a pen. And then y'all play in society like y'all are these clean-cut people, when in reality, it's all bullshit too. You know, y'all know better than the thug on the street in that case. But the thugs on the street aren't doing rituals behind closed doors and, you know, getting into all that Epstein type stuff, you know? So who's really, you know, who's really the parasites of society? That's what you got to ask yourself. And at least I could say that. At least I could say that, you know, without feeling any guilt. But a lot of these people, y'all, that's what this world's built on. It's a lot of sick shit. That's what it is. And you got to think, what kind of person would do this against their own family? What kind of person would participate in organized stalking against their neighbor, their family member? You know what I mean? A coworker, like people that you're supposed to actually have trust in. And that's the thing. Like, that doesn't matter anymore. Like, morals, integrity, all that's out the window. It feels like we in the last days. It feels like we're in the end game. You know, and to be honest, I wouldn't be surprised if Babylon, America gets judged. I wouldn't be surprised on a wide scale. And at that point, honestly, a lot of people talk about, you know, when will gangstalking end? When will targeting end? You know when it's gonna end? When they black everything out. When we hit that blackout, once this tech goes down, once Babylon's destroyed, that's when it will end. That's my personal opinion. Because people are too egotistical and prideful, you know, to take responsibility for their actions, you know, to take accountability. That's the mind of the narcissist. That's the mind of the narcissistic people. You know, they can't apologize. They can't realize what they're doing is evil because it's so normal to do evil to them, you know. But like I said, man, this stuff's a lot more serious than I feel like people understand. Like, people are literally trying to get you out of here. People are literally trying to drive you to suicide. They're trying to drive you to act out. They're trying to get you locked up. They're trying to set you up. Use triggers and reactive abuse. Any way, shape, or form. And that's why I encourage all TIs, like, find you're really gonna have to know your triggers and find some type of peace or maybe in solitude, because isolation ain't always bad. Because I was used to being by myself even before I knew I was targeted. I was already a natural loner, so that didn't really do nothing to me when they thought it was. Because some of the fakest people are out there, you know what I mean? In these crowds anyway. So I figured being to myself just made me discover who I was more. But like I said, this ain't a game. And these people are playing with people's lives out here. And before I end this video, I'm going to say this. You could talk about anything in this world and nobody has a problem, right? The moment you mention organized stalking, organized harassment, gangstalking, everybody has an excuse or a medical condition to diagnose you with, or everybody has a gaslighting reasoning to refute or debate the topic of organized stalking and gang stalking. You ever notice that every time you bring up something about organized stalking or gang stalking, everybody has a pre-programmed argument already? But you can talk about anything else. But the moment you mention that's when everybody's defenses go up. You know why? Because a lot of these people are fucking sellouts and frauds. And that's clean cut. That's what it is. And everybody's acting like this big inside joke when in reality we see through this bullshit. And that's what they don't like. When you see through the bullshit, that's why they come at y'all so hard. That's why when you make a video, they increase it. That's why when you speak against it, everybody starts acting funny and everybody starts acting all butthurt around you. Yeah, that's why. And one more thing I'm gonna say. It's funny how the main ones that are involved in orchestrating this whole thing, it's the police, it's the police departments, neighborhood watch groups, veterans, EMS, fire departments, people that work for your cities and towns. That shows you, you know what I mean? And of course the Freemason lodges, these Eastern Star lodges, but that shows you that this system that's currently in place was never for us, because all of these people are products of that system. All of these people are products to defend the current ruling system, which is, these sick motherfuckers in the government. That's all it is. So gangstalking is a direct result of these sick people being in positions of authority. That's what it is. And I apologize for cussing. I apologize for using these words. But that's what it is, y'all. Okay? And y'all take care. And you can hate it or love it. You don't gotta like it. If you don't like it, cover your ears, close your eyes. Turn off your surveillance devices.